scroll bar. But on here, you notice there's no differentiation. It just says scroll bar. And that's because when you choose scroll bar, if you put it in this way, well, it's vertical. If you put it in this way, it's horizontal, you know. So it's up to you how you put the scroll bar in there. But it does say put in a horizontal scroll bar. So I'm going to do that. This one right here. And I'm going to copy it. So although they're the exact same size and shape. Okay. And put another one there because there's going to need to be a scroll bar for each of these.
How is the scroll bar different from the
spin button?
The spin button.
Good question. In a spin button, you just have the arrows on either end. And on a scroll bar, you have the thing in the middle, the slider in the middle, which in a moment you'll see how that impacts what we do. Okay, so let me look back at the parameters for interest rate. It says interest rate goes from 0 to 10% in 0.5% increments. Okay, so interest rate, we would want to put in 0 to 10% in 0.5% increments. We've already discovered that we cannot put decimal values into this, right? Okay, so we're therefore not going to do the 0.01, 0.1, and all that. But look at that. The step value there is a decimal. We can't do that. It's not going to take it. Okay, it's not going to take a decimal value, and that's what our step value is. We need to turn that step value into a 1. It's got to become a 1. It can't be left as a decimal value. What quick little mathematical operation will turn a 0.5 into a 1? Times it by 2. Okay, multiply it by 2. 0.5 will become 1. You multiply it by 2. So now this is 0. I'm multiplying all these things by 2. 1, 2, 3, to 20. Right? So when I specify this scroll bar right here, I'm going to say its minimum value is 1, right? We're not starting at 0. No, we start on 0 on this one. 0. I'm going to say it's 0. And its maximum value is 20. And it steps by 1. Okay, it doesn't step by 0.5. It steps by 1. It goes from 0 to 20 and steps by 1. I am capturing that, my cell link right there, right here, 021. That's where I'm capturing what the user does. Okay, 0 to 20 in steps of 1. Click OK. If I use this, I'll see that over there going all the way up to 20, all the way down to 1. Okay. Of course the user needs to see this, but when I go to put this in, it's not exactly putting this in. I mean, that's going to go from 0 to 20. It's not supposed to go from 0 to 20. So when I have them see it, I have to correct what I did there to scale it so that it would work. Okay, I had to scale it so it would work. Now I have to correct that scaling by doing what here? Dividing it by 2. Okay, so now I divide it by 2, and now it shows just what I want. 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, from, you know, all the half percents like I would want it to do. But I set a keyword in there, percent. And when I format it for percent, so the other correction I need to do is, yeah. And yes, I'm absolutely aware that we could say divide that by 200, but I don't want to say divide that by 200 because I want you very distinctly to see what the two corrections were that were made. The dividing by 2 was correcting that scaling. The 100 was correcting the fact that we need to turn this into something that will then be able to be displayed correctly as a percent. Okay. Okay. Now, I will tell you that the first percent format that you do doesn't have decimal places, so you'll see 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, because it's not showing you the decimal place. So just give it a decimal place, and then you'll see the halves. Okay. It's more fun on the next one.
Can you look at that formula again? Because it didn't work.
It's 021 divided by 2 divided by 100. But you have to make sure you're showing a single decimal place. If you're not showing a decimal place, then you're not going to see these. All right, next one. Parameters in here. Your term can vary from 1 year to 6 years in 6-month increments, which means we're going to do this as months because we're not going to say half years anyway. So 1 year will be 12 months, 6 years will be 72 months. Okay, so we're going to go in here and set this format control up where our minimum value of a year would be 12 months. Our maximum value of 6 years will be 72 months. And our incremental change will be the 6-month increments. And I'll capture that right here in 022. Okay, so I'm going to go from 12 to 72 in 6-month increments. Okay. Of course, I want the user to see it, so I'm real quick just going to go ahead and reference that cell so the user can see it. And then let's test it out. Okay, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Goes up to 72. Back down to 12. All is good until your user does this. 31, 32, 33. So somebody asked, what's the difference in a spin button and a scroll bar? That's the difference in a spin button and a scroll bar. That's not a valid option. 30 and 36 are valid options, and 34 is not. So here's what we wanted: 12, 18, 24, up to 72. Okay. That step is a 6. When that step is a 6, that slider can go in between. We've got to turn that step into a 1. What mathematical operation can I turn a 6 into a 1? Divide by 6. Okay. Divide each of these by 6. 2, 3, 4, to 12. Okay. All right, so I turned this into the 1 that it has to be. Back into that form control. That minimum value should be a 2, all the way up to, it is 2, right? Yeah, don't start at 1 now. All the way up to a 12 in steps of 1. Because it has to start at 12 months. So 2 up to 12 in steps of 1. And I click OK. Of course, it's now going from 2 to 12. From 2 to 12. So in this cell, I have to correct my scaling. So I do what? Yep. I multiply it by 6. So I correct that scaling so that the person sees 36, 42, 48. But more importantly, when they go to drag that little bar, 60 moves 1 step to 54. You see, it doesn't have the option of moving in between like that. Yes?
Can you go to where you formatted it so you can see your numbers one more time?
The formatting it here?
Yes.
Yes, 2 to 12 in steps of 1, which is this right here. 2 to 12 in steps of 1. Yeah.
So when you format it, you tell it that the increments, you want them to be 1 or 2, right? But why does, when you scroll the bar, it still does increments of 1 only?
Okay, because the scroll bar, okay, don't pay attention to this for just a second. The scroll bar is changing that thing over there. So what happens is it goes 9, where it is now 10, 11, 12. Why? Because I told it to go from 2 to 12. Okay, what's this doing? This is multiplying that number by 6. That's why.
Yeah, I understand that. But I'm saying when you format that part, so, but when you do the arrows, it takes your 6 into consideration.
Oh,
but when
okay,
you move the bar, it doesn't, right?
Yes, okay, here's one. When I did it the wrong way. So you're saying when it said 12 to 72 in steps of 6. The arrows will do the increment, okay? But the bar has full ability to slide anywhere. And that's just how the control works. That's just, yeah. So we're making it do this. by scaling it. You are going to have to be able to do this on a quiz. Okay, you have to be able to take whatever you are given and scale it so your steps absolutely positively have to be 1. Okay, whatever the step is now, you got to make it 1. Okay, then for the user to see it, you just reverse whatever you did. That's all. But you have to be able to scale it to where your step in here, I don't have it up
Minus your
anymore,
down payment.
where your step in here is a 1.
Plus your
Okay. And
taxes.
then you correct the problem for the visual purposes of the user seeing what you want them to see. But you've got to make the steps 1, or else you can slide in between, and you don't want that. And that, you don't have that problem up here. You don't have this problem up here because you don't have a scroll bar. You have simply the arrows at the end, which is what a spin button is, and so you never have to worry about that with a spin button because it's never an issue.
That's just for your calculation.
Okay, 2 more things we're going to put on here really fast. Payment, total interest paid. I'm abbreviating now. Trying to do it quick, but we're going to do it. Okay, the thing I started to talk about last time with a payment function, PMT. Okay, these are the things that you need to know in order to calculate a payment. What's your interest rate? What's the time period over which you're paying it back? And what was the amount that you borrowed? That's what they call PMT. That's the loan amount. You will notice that you see things in square brackets here, and that always means they're optional. You don't have to put in a future value. A future value would be if you had a balloon note, which at the end of your payments had a lump sum that was due. That's not traditional. If you don't put it in, it does a traditional loan that pays down to 0. Okay? Type, annuity, annuity due. It does whichever one of those is the traditional one. I think that's annuity due where you pay it, no, annuity, which you pay at the end. Okay? So you don't have to put those in, but you have to have these 3 things. And I want you to see something about this. This is important in an Excel financial function where it uses rate here. The rate you put in here has to match your time periods. When somebody publishes an interest rate for you, what is the time period of that interest rate? What kind of interest rate is it when you look at a car loan?
Monthly.
Well, when they publish it and they say it's 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever, it's an annual interest rate. It's a yearly, okay, so usually a year. It's an annual interest rate. Everyone publishes annual interest rates. Nobody publishes them any other way than that. Is that how we pay back the car? Oh no, that would be one really big payment, okay? So no. So every time you see a rate in a Excel financial function, it has to match your time period, with you fully understanding that a rate that you've been given is more than likely annual, okay? Almost always. And so when I take this interest rate, I've got to divide it by 12. Then the number of time periods, well, luckily ours are in months. We just converted this rate to a periodic monthly rate, which would be annual divided by 12. We made it a periodic monthly rate. This also has to be in months, which luckily it is. So we just highlight that cell that has the months. And then the loan amount, which we had up here somewhere. Yeah. Okay. This will be the last one we do, because I can do this one really fast later. But the rate, which has to be converted to your periodic rate, the number of total time periods, 18 months, and the loan amount. And here's the interesting thing about an Excel function. Excel financial functions consider anything that is an inflow to you as a positive number and anything that is an outflow from you as a negative number. Okay, that's how it sees them. It makes them positive and negative based on whether it's an inflow or an outflow, and a payment is an outflow. And so therefore, payment functions always show up negative. But to your just regular user who's going, I want a Nissan mid-priced with the, this is going to look weird to them. They're going to see this and go, a negative $1,400, well, I can handle a negative payment, people paying me. Okay, I'm feeling good about that. So this might be a really good time to put a little absolute value around this so that it displays in its positive form so that it doesn't confuse anybody. Okay, but that's the way Excel sees financial functions, as inflows or outflows, and it will just automatically do that. Okay, we'll do the last cell where we got to the other class we got to there, but that's real quick, and so we will do that next time when we come in. You can save this file just like it is. when we will pick back up here on Thursday and finish this one out and then start a little bit of stuff that's not in this file. So I'll see you on Thursday.
Did it die?